All right, man. So today we're making our NBA Infinite debut, and what we're talking about today is dribble moves. Well, not dribble moves, but basically just crossovers. That's what they call them inside this game. The game that I come from called them dribble moves, but they're called crossovers on here and whatnot. So we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be just covering the basics of it. We're not going to go too far in depth because I don't want to start talking about the intermediate and advanced stuff before y'all even have a chance to completely understand the basics, because without understanding the basics, you will not be able to use your dribbles effectively. So make sure y'all keep that in mind. So all right, man, let's go ahead and get started. So when it comes down to using your crossover button, there are two very basic animations that I'm pretty sure everyone has access to. They might not look the same on each character, but essentially they're exactly the same thing. So let's go ahead and look at it here. So you have the basic animation of you just doing a hesitation. So you can see the hesi there. You can also do this with a different animation. Now, if you haven't noticed, just by playing this game or just noticing it by you doing it yourself or someone else doing it, there are slightly different things that happen when you use these two animations. So, for example, if I do a crossover and I move my analog to the hand that does not have the ball, he's going to go between the legs. So this is what I like to use personally to try my best to create space. So my defender's hugging me, they're holding that defend button and not giving me any space. I just jump into one of these. It gives me plenty of space. And if they decide to stay holding their defend button and they're not actually trying to stop my fast takeoff, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to be able to actually leave them in the dust. So what I do is, if they're still holding their defend button, I go this way, then I just go back and I jump into a fadeaway. Didn't do a fadeaway there, but I'm pretty sure y'all get the idea. So let's take a look at the second one. Ignore that train that y'all hear in the background. I live right next to some train tracks. So yeah, man, let's look at the next one. So with this animation right here, if you move your analog in the same direction as the hand with the ball, and then you tap your crossover button, you can see that he does an animation that leans more towards trying to drive. So we do this one. You can see he's creating space and banging up from his defender a little bit, moving more laterally than forward, but he's moving more forward on this one than laterally. So make sure y'all keep that in mind as well. If you plan on actually driving, it is not a bad idea to use your crossover in the same direction as the hand with the ball. But if you're attempting to create space, it is much more effective to actually go between the legs with this. So yeah, so we just got done looking at phase 1 of the dribbles. Now we're going to start talking about phase 2s. So in terms of phase 2s, it's going to look something similar to this. So phase 1, we go between the legs. Phase 2, we do a crossover. So we jumped into a crisscross. So once you do the second move and it's actually linked to the first move, that's when you do a second phase crossover. So if you think about something like this, you jump into this. Whoops. So you jump into this, then you jump into a behind the back. So if you think about the behind the back description, it says after a phase 2 crossover, or I believe a high speed dribble, you can actually jump into a behind the back. And the same thing goes for something like the, what's it called? The Sham God. So let's go ahead and take a look at that here. So you just do the same thing, but instead of moving your analog in the opposite direction, you're going to do it in the same direction as the hand with the ball. So we're going to go ahead and do it here. There we go. Pretty simple. Sham God, pretty easy. You can only activate Sham God and behind the back dribble with LaMelo specifically. Now you think about quick behind the back, like someone has, like Steph Curry has that. LaMelo does not have quick step back. He can only do it after a phase 2 dribble, and it also has to be during a high speed drive. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Oh, accidentally did a Sham God, man. All right, let's look at it here, man. So you can see, you can also go into a quick behind the back, but it doesn't actually show the name. So yeah, man, let's go ahead and do one last rundown. You want to create space, go between the legs, create that space, man. You want to go for a drive, make sure you're doing your dribble in the same direction as the hand with the ball. Phase 1 is going to be the first half of your dribble move. So this is what phase 1 looks like. 9 times out of 10, this is what phase 1 is going to look like. And you also have a second animation. And some people have this between the legs right here. That is also a phase 1. And then phase 2 is anything that is linked to the first dribble that you decide to do. So phase 1, then we do phase 1, phase 2, just like that. So yeah, man, any moves that you have that say wait until phase 2 or just a high-speed dribble. This is a high-speed dribble. They call it an explosive first step inside the descriptions and stuff like that. But a high-speed dribble, basically just when you finish your dribble move and do the second part, after you do your dribble move in the same direction as the hand with the ball, but both dribbles have to be in that direction. So make sure y'all keep that in mind. So all right, man, we can go ahead and wrap this video up. Y'all want to see more of this? Go ahead and drop a like, sub to the channel, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, man.